Over the years, I've noticed something weird about the self-improvement productivity niche. Maybe you've noticed it too. It can feel incredibly productive to consume this type of content or these type of items, even when nothing in your actual life changes. You can watch a bunch of self-improvement videos on YouTube. You can get a new planner, try some new pens that everyone's been talking about. You can try a new note-taking app that looks really tidy and aesthetic. And somehow, you will feel accomplished. But 2 weeks later, and hours spent, nothing is different, except you now have at least one new planner. I started wondering why that happens, why we do that, and what we can do to create actual change in our actions instead of chasing the feeling of being productive through overconsumption. So today, we're actually going to talk about how overconsumption feels productive, why that is, and what we can do to stop consuming and start actually working to change our lives for the better. The reason why we overconsume in search of productivity is because of content overload. And that's because scrolling on our screens, it fills up our free time, which is really stimulating and rewarding to our brains, which makes it way too easy to get caught up in social media and using our phones to scroll algorithmic feeds, because so much of life demands that we not only have our phones on us at all times, but that we're able to answer a text or a work call ASAP. Optimization culture is another reason. A lot of self-improvement content is centered around the idea of efficiency, the idea that things can be made faster and less taxing through means like automation in order to offload tasks to another person or system. In principle, yeah, that idea sounds really enticing and it can be helpful. But just like we see in society with the huge corporate push towards AI, too much optimization makes your life uncomfortably frictionless to the point of just passing through without being an active participant in your own life. Aesthetic productivity. The aesthetic trends of productivity culture may serve as an outlet for more consumption, since trends on social media go along with a sense of novelty and fear of missing out. People get excited about doing something, but then feel influenced to do it perfectly aesthetically, or not at all. Dopamine from planning. Sometimes thinking and visualizing about doing something can be rewarding to the brain as well. Like I mentioned before, getting ready for an action can lead to overconsumption because it makes people want to buy stuff. Like they're so excited for something or to do something that they have all this energy and tension, but the simplest path to expending all that tension can be to buy things because it's both novel and very easy, easier than doing the big change or routine in your life that you're excited for. So, how can we change the behavior and mental state that is consumption into actions that change our life and our habits? Well, because consuming things is so rewarding to our human brains, it's very hard to sit with the idea that having less can be rewarding too. And I mean both in terms of consuming media, content, ideas, but also physical stuff like consuming fast home decor, fast fashion, things you don't really need or want at the end of the day. Not only that, but the products and services we use that are enmeshed with big tech algorithms prey upon this reward system in the brain that loves novelty and chases dopamine by making it harder and harder for users to quit. It's like how advertisers in the past and influencers of today use psychology to create demand and sales for products. A part of that is the whole marketing system of the attention-driven economy. But knowledge is power, so I hope that the information I've given you in this video helps you be aware of the ways that you are being manipulated into buying more stuff you don't need and buying into more of other people's ideas. Even then, I know social media use and buying things can not only be addictive, but they can be self-soothing methods that people turn to in order to regulate their nervous system. Especially in countries with no real healthcare system, it can be really hard to get help for these behaviors. There's also a political kind of morality assigned to certain behaviors like these. What I mean is that consumption, especially shopping, is a safer, more acceptable way for many people, especially women, to expend their energy or their mental intensity. Not many people find it out of the ordinary to have shopping as a hobby in and of itself. So in that way, it's misunderstood even amongst clinicians, the root cause of all these behaviors and if they even stand as disordered behaviors at all. That being said, a simple framework that I use to differentiate between the whole consumption as a hobby and that feeling of being productive versus really engaging in a hobby is this. There are 4 questions to understand if you're making progress or just feeling like you are. 1. Is it an action or is it just a thought? You want to make an imperfect, minimum viable product. So what that means is you just want to have a first iteration and then you can change it over time. But you want to, publish that video. You want to write that book. You want to, do the thing that's going to work you towards your goal. Because if you don't, you're just going to kind of be stuck in that cycle of just feeling like you're making progress. 2. Is it realistic and measurable? So we all know that we have to make goals SMART. And if you don't know what SMART goals are, that's an acronym that means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, which are characteristics of actionable steps that can help you work towards a goal. 3. Is it consistently actionable? So going along with the SMART goals thing, you need to be doing the work consistently to meet most goals. So even a small interaction every day is more helpful than one big burst of production and productivity. So make your goals something that can be chiseled away at every day. And then 4, can you do it without spending money? This one is pretty self-explanatory, but you usually don't need to buy new things to learn a new skill or to improve yourself, especially if you're just on that beginner level. All in all, I don't think that self-improvement is supposed to feel, dramatically euphoric and super good. I think it's supposed to feel a little boring. And maybe that's why we avoid the parts that actually work, because they're weird and they're uncomfortable. But you know what they say, to be number one, you gotta be a bit odd. So what do you guys think? I really want to hear what people are thinking about this. Just leave me a comment if you have any takes on this subject. Whether they're cold takes, hot takes, lukewarm takes, I don't care. I just want to see what you guys think about overconsumption, how it relates to the productivity hobby, and yeah. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't. I post a new video every Friday. Bye!